Cannot see you.
He cannot see me yet again. That's when it goes into record mode. That's when you can't see me.
Yeah.
Soon as it starts recording, that's when you can't see me. Denver Broncos Mile High View, the authority on the Denver Broncos, bar none, hands down. Now, we said and got a lot of shit saying that nobody wanted to come to the Denver Broncos. So he said the only way that could happen is if you would, bribe a head coach to get here. And that's precisely what happened. And I also said that, even though they got Sean Payton, I said this process is far from over. And I'm going to challenge anybody who doesn't think that nobody wants to come here. It's clearly what we've seen in these coaching hires or lack of coaching hires. We'll also get into this. We're going to go into what we're going to call busting the turd polishers. There's a lot of turd polishing going on with Vance Joesph. But I think the biggest takeaway is of this whole thing is the lack of candidates. And you had, people, you had Rex Ryan, Matt Patricia, who was an offensive coordinator. I mean, that's how bad it has gotten here. You're recycling coaches from the Hackett era. It's obvious nobody wants to be another Denver Bronco fall guy. And it seems to me that they must have made Vance Joesph an offer he couldn't refuse. And because he could have went to the Eagles. They're still looking. Or maybe they just didn't think Vance Joesph wouldn't have made any sense on the Eagles. They're a 4-3 defense. And Vance Joesph is a 3-4 guy. So, I mean, I don't think that Vance Joesph was really high on their list. But somebody could point to the Eagles and say, well, see the Eagles, they don't have a DC. It's true. They don't. And I don't think Vance Joesph would have been a good candidate because he's a 3-4 guy. And here's the other thing, too. What the Broncos really could use and what the Broncos can get are two different things. We really felt that the Broncos really should start going towards a Sean Payton 4-3 Saints type system. But you can't get anybody here. Rex Ryan's a hybrid guy. And I think that's why nobody really wanted to hire him, because that whole hybrid thing kind of came and went. And we even have people clamoring for Rex Ryan. Nobody wants Rex Ryan. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to myth bust a little bit. Why don't you get into the player personnel problem? We should talk first of all about this top 5 defense nonsense. It's nonsense because I think Bubble Man, what I really liked is what he put out when all they have is stats to prove. I mean, we have no big plays really by Broncos other than if you want to call direct throws to Justin Simmons some sort of a big play. We don't really have anybody, on this defense making any kind of big plays on a constant basis like we saw throughout the year with the Philadelphia or the Bills or Kansas City. Their defenses, and we'll get into offensive lines and stuff like this later on, and Patrick Mahomes, all that. But I think Bubble Man said it best when he said, and he quieted the naysayers by saying, if this defense was such a top 5 defense, how come they couldn't even stop a backup quarterback in the Ravens, for instance? We saw these examples over and over throughout the season. The teams didn't have to score because the offense can't score. So the offenses on the opposing team didn't have to score, and they were doing a lot of experimenting. So if the Broncos had that top 5 defense, why is it that a backup quarterback who hadn't even thrown all season long in Raven country can go 90 yards, 95 yards, whatever it was, to score the needed point to win the game? And they couldn't stop their run. They couldn't stop this quarterback who'd never thrown. This is just all turd polish myth, just lies and myths. And I have a feeling that Vance Joesph, Edgerro, we got to talk about Edgerro. How is it that this guy, Edgerro, couldn't get out of town fast enough? Hey, he had the top 5. He had a defense. He could have just, like a security blanket, had a good job and all this. Sean Payton, right? He couldn't wait to get out of town. And I don't want to hear that he was a Hackett guy. He's not even where Hackett is. They're not together. So we're going to get into that. And then, Vance Joesph, player personnel in Arizona versus what we got here. And player personnel I wanted, but none of these Bronco fans wanted. They wanted Josie Jules. Okay. And okay. So I rant and raved enough. So you can unpack all this stuff and talk about this whole coaching hiring process that really is, but isn't, and everything else.
Well, it's good to see Chopped Liver again. I mean, I missed my partner in crime. It's good to see you back on the saddle, and we're going to keep doing this till, we're blue in the face. But anyway, So the Denver Broncos basically pulled another shit out of their hat, another turd out of their hat, per se. They went out and got Vance Joesph, okay? What this screams to me is that Elway and the Chucks are still in the building. That's what it screams to me.
That's the only way I think this got done.
And you're going to sit there and tell me that with this Vance Joesph hire, I think it's going to be worse here than it was in Arizona. I think it's going to be even worse than his first time here in Denver than it is his second time. Because you know why? Because he is not going to have the say on the player personnel that he wants. He doesn't even have the say on the assistant coaches that he wants. You really think that Vance Joesph wants to hire Matt Patricia, who was an offensive coordinator last year for the Patriots? That is Scott Frost level shit right there. That is on the level of Scott Frost. Okay? Matt Patricia possibly coming in to be a linebackers coach. If Vance Joesph wanted him so badly to be a linebackers coach, then why was he not hired in Arizona to be the linebackers coach with Vance Joesph?
Well, my question to you is with Matt Patricia is, if Matt Patricia is willing to be a linebackers coach, what does that say about his market value as an offensive coordinator?
Shit! He sucks! Look what he did in Detroit, and you're going to sit there and defend this dude? He sucks!
They all have 8 years of defending really bad moves. And then they defend. They're 5-11 defenders, all of them. All of them cheerleading this.
Of course they're cheerleading this because they don't know. They're telling you how great of a fan they are up there in Denver and how much they know it all, right? And you have you have the three people, the Mile High masterminds, like we like to call them, Bubble Man, Chop Liver, and Bucket Man Scouting, that got this fucking right. That said, nobody wants to come here. I'm a bigger fan of Vance Joesph than I am Rex Ryan. I will give that. I will concede on that. But what gives Sean Payton and our Saints source can back it up? He likes to run a 4-3 defense. Yep. That's why he brought in a Rob Ryan. That's why he brought in a Dennis Allen. Their 4-3 defense didn't take off until they got the right player personnel to run the 4-3 defense. And you're going to sit there and tell me, Denver Broncos country and the people that are sucking on this turd, that you're going to sit there and tell me that Vance Joesph is coming into a top 5 defense when they have better player personnel in Arizona with the likes of J.J. Watt, a Jordan Phillips for a year, a Zach Allen, who they drafted and developed out of Boston College. When they went out and got your guys, Zayvon Collins, that Vic Fangio wanted in that fucking draft, and they got Isaiah Simmons, and they got a better safety in Budda Baker, and they got another safety in Jalen Thompson, who's a much better safety than a Justin Simmons. You got Byron Murphy out there, who they drafted and developed. You're going to sit there and tell me a guy in Ezra who ran to Carolina, who has a better defensive player personnel in Carolina, that you're going to sit there and tell me that he is going to have a top 10 defense next year. What the fuck are you smoking, people?
Yeah, if this was top 5, they say top 5. Now they've knocked it down to top 10. then how come they couldn't stop teams when they needed to score to win the game, even though, albeit it was close games, not very many points, because they didn't need to score but when they needed to score, they just walked down and scored every single time. We saw that the year before too. We talked about that the year before.
How come when teams were beating themselves, they were still able to move the ball up and down the field on this team?
Yeah.
Well, what does that tell you?
They just want to have you look at a stat. Don't look at all that. Look at a stat.
I don't think Sean Payton wanted Vance Joesph. This screams Elway all the way. Elway has been in love has been infatuated with Vance Joesph going all the way back to 2014, 2015. He got him in 2017 when the player personnel on the defensive side of the ball was still okay. Now Vance Joesph is coming back in 2023, and this defensive player personnel looks like absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
You don't have the defensive line like you did in 2017. You don't have the linebacking core like you did in 2017. You sure as hell don't have the safety core like you did in 2017.
Or 2016.
Well, 2016, 2017, whatever. That's when he was hired, was 2017. But you don't have the
same. I think, wasn't it 2016? Because they fired Wade Phillips after the Super Bowl.
No, they had Joe Woods.
Oh, Elway fired Wade Phillips after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was the 2015 season. Vance Joesph came in the 2016 season.
No, he came in 2017 because Gary Kubiak was there 2016. They had Wade Phillips for another year. 2017, they fired Gary Kubiak left, Wade Phillips left, and then they had that all-star cast with Mike McCoy, Joe Woods, Vance Joesph, the special teams coach. This was all in 2017, not 2016.
Was Phillips still under contract for 17?
No, he wasn't.
I mean, for 16?
Yes.
And that's why they couldn't fire him.
They give him the extra money to stay here because Elway wanted to take all the credit for that Super Bowl win.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So the bottom line is it was Elway that wanted before. Now it was 2014 or whenever they brought in Wade Phillips. That's when that's when Elway wanted Vance Joesph. And Pat Bowlen said, no, you cannot have Vance Joesph. I want to put Wade Phillips in as DC. He overrode John Elway on that decision. Pat Bowlen did. Pat Bowlen overrode John Elway in that decision. So that's how far back that love affair for Vance Joesph goes with John Elway. That's where the connection lies. And he's still there. You can go to the website. All of his scouts are still there. That's the whole thing. I don't see any new scouts with this Sean Payton hire. And here's the thing, too. Sean Payton was called out by the press nationally, I believe. Said 24 days since, and you haven't hired Jack Crab. Oh, no, we got everything. Well, we find out that they're just retreading a lot of coaches from last year. I mean, if Rex Ryan, Matt Patricia, and Vance Joesph is all you can do, the best you can do, you've got serious issues getting people to come here. I mean, I don't need to listen to anybody's talk. I can see with my own eyeballs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the know. I'm in the know. The players that, because we know we have a long track of evidence now what Vance Joesph players look like. We're gonna know. We are going to fucking know, ladies and gentlemen, because I have scouted to the bitter fucking end, and I know what Vance Joesph players are. And if I would not be shocked if he couldn't go out and get a defensive line coach that he wanted. He couldn't go out. Now he can't even go out and get the linebackers coach, Matt Patricia, an offensive coordinator last year. What the fuck?
Well, you said people are pissed off.
Oh, yeah, people are pissed.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it goes to what we were trying to tell them. Nobody wants to come here because so many bridges have been burned. And now he's gone completely. Hello?
Sorry, I had to close the door. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Well, give me a little early warning there. So anyway, so get my thoughts collected again. So we tried to say that nobody wanted to come here. That's what we're obviously seeing. They're scrambling just to patchwork whatever they can. I don't think there's going to be an offensive coordinator. I think that it's going to be the assistant to the assistant, and the obvious offensive coordinator is going to be Sean Payton. Both off, it's kind of like a Nathaniel Hackett deal of last year. Who's the offensive coordinator? Oh, well, this person here was hired as offensive coordinator, but you never see him anywhere. He's like a ghost. So anyway, I other than something like last year's offensive coordinator that didn't really exist, you're like, well, he's been hired and his picture's there, but you don't see him in game day and stuff like this. So that's kind of what I see going on with this. And we got wide receivers on the chopping block, perhaps, maybe, who knows? Who knows?
I mean, what do you do?
What do you do with the player personnel they have that don't? None of them fit Sean Payton's system. Oh, no. Sean Payton is going to work in our sandbox that we gave him. He's not going to be Sean Payton. He's going to be the new Sean Payton working in this sandbox. Again, that's the 8th year we've had that. Nope, you're not allowed to be who you are. You have to work your magic with what we give you, and what we give you is garbage.
Well, it's not going to be one of those people out there that is going to kiss ass on every hire that the Broncos get. You're going to have those prototypical mental midgets out there that are going to be clamoring for Vance Joesph, and the minute that it goes wrong, they'll be the first people that are going to run him out of town.
Yes. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat.
And this is what it feels like. Wash, rinse, repeat. Me and you were high on the strength. I was high on the strength coach edition, the offensive line coach edition. But when you're keeping the same people over and expecting different results, that is the definition of insanity. That is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting different results. Like you said, working in that sandbox that Sean Payton is going to have to work in. I don't believe Sean Payton wanted Vance Joesph. I don't believe that for a second. I believe that's all Elway. I believe that full-heartedly. That is all Elway.
Well, history would suggest that. We have history, yes. History would suggest that's an Elway. But, I mean, well, here you go. When nobody will come here except Rex Ryan and Matt Patricia, nobody will come here to even interview. Now, the Eagles haven't finalized their defensive coordinator, but they've interviewed more than one person. They've interviewed more than Vance Joesph. They have candidates willing to come up.
Yeah,
4 or 3 candidates that they need to figure out which ones. But here we just have mystery. Well, what did Sean Payton say? We filled 16 coaching staffs that they're all a mystery. We don't know who they are, but trust us. Well, we already know that a lot of them are retreads from last year. And you said they been some other people from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're saying stuff like that in terms of, what did we say during the press conference? Wait and see approach? The wait and see approach? It's already starting to go down the shitter. It is starting to go down that shitter again, just like last year, the year before that, because the moves that you are showing us, and the people that are not willing to come here because they know that they're going to fall on the sword for Payton, for that organization, because of the bridges they have burned throughout this past 7 to 8 years, that we're telling you guys, when we said nobody wanted to come here, we believed that. And look what happened. It took you guys realize, I don't think a lot of people realize, and they don't look at the NFL and they don't look at football the way I look at it and the way we look at it, the in-depth way we look at it. We're a GM-centric channel. When we talk about why you haven't hired somebody yet, number one, because nobody wants to come here. Number two, you do realize that the combine's next week, right?
Well, they have all of Elway's scouts are still here. All of the same 7 years of the same crap. They're all still here.
Okay, yeah. So you being one of those mental midget fans that we deal with on a daily basis, you're gonna sit there and tell me that the Elway scouts, okay, as a scout, if I'm let's just say hypothetically, let's say we're Elway scouts. What players are we scouting for to fit this team? Because it's a mess. You have the 3-4 defense here. You have West Coast systems here, power run system here. Like, what are you doing?
That's why I feel sorry for this offensive line coach. They have to get serious with this line. You know, the thing
both lines. Both lines.
Well, yes, both lines. I'm just thinking about offensive line right now. But yes, the way I see it is this whole thing has to get blown up. Player personnel that fits one system instead of having all these players from all different systems, and Vance Joesph with the 3-4, Sean Payton with the 4-3, and the mismatch, the spaghetti against the wall. It just never ends at Dove Valley. They got to blow it up and say we got to be monolithic in what we do, one core philosophy that we build out from. That is not what's going on right now at Dove Valley.
It blows my mind. You want to bring in Matt Patricia as a linebackers coach, and he was an offensive coordinator last year, and he got fired.
I'm sure you're going to get the but nobody, I'll say this, but nobody wants to hire him. So he says, okay, I'll be a linebackers coach because nobody wants to hire him. Nobody
the Patriots don't even want to bring back.
Nobody wants Rex Ryan. Nobody wants Rex Ryan. Nobody.
Rex Ryan, and I thought Rex Ryan was going to come here, and I was wrong on that. But again, you bring him out, dude. The Patriots don't even want to bring back Matt Patricia. The Lions, look what he did to the Lions, and look how the Lions have completely turned around ever since that dude and his GM left. I mean, it's like. You're absolutely right. It's like we're living in a matrix. Like people actually believe this shit's gonna work.
Yeah.
And it's just like you, me, and Bubble Man are just out here like, you guys realize that this is not going to work because all the spaghetti in the jar that you are so meshed in, organizational wise and player personnel wise as you're scratching back. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, get that Elway scratch. Yeah, Yeah, we'll give you a little scratch, Vance Joesph.
That Elway itch.
Yep. But again, it's like you said, you still have the Elway scouts in there. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, this team. This is why me and this guy, we were high on the O-line coach, but we said everything has to come together. We had a wait and see approach. We weren't these fans that were like, yeah, Sean Payton, yeah. We say, calm down, wait and see approach, because we hear great press conferences before. You can win the press conference, but you need to win the off season and you need to win the regular season and the playoffs and the Super Bowl. You need to have a track record where you're doing it correctly. And the Broncos haven't shown us for the past 70 years that they are doing it correctly.
So what you're saying is we're not 3-0 in the off season right now?
Well, I mean, to these turd polishing platforms and these mental midgets, of course we're 3-0, but to me, you're not 3-0. You bring in Vance Joesph when Sean Payton has traditionally ran a 4-3 defense.
Well, that's why I didn't want Rex Ryan. He doesn't know what he wants to be. He does one minute it's 4-3, the next it's 3-4. And that ended up biting him in the ass as he went on as a coach. His defense has declined. And the rule of thumb was this hybrid 4-3-3-4 does not work because either players are 4-3. You can have a core and maybe you can get a player to convert here or there, but players are either, like you said, they hand in the dirt 4-3 or they're 3-4, that kind of thing. We see Draymond Jones. That must be another Vance Joesph love affair there. Not going into that 4-3 system, which we thought he would be better fitted for. We're going to see that same square peg and that same round hole and the same underwhelming results. Am I correct?
You're absolutely correct. And again, let's
overpay him too.
Well, yeah, they will. They'll overpay him. So here's the reality of the situation. Let's talk about Vance Joesph for a second. I'm not really high on the Vance Joesph defense. I think it's an okay defense, but it's more of a blitzing defense more than it is a Vic Fangio coverage style defense. I think when you're thinking about the Vance Joesph defense, he likes to run a lot of blitz package principles. And what I mean by that is he likes to bring
great when you got J.J. Watt in there.
Well, also when you have a Jordan Phillips for a year before, when you had George Phillips and you have a Zach Allen in there. But again, it's just more of the player personnel that he had in Arizona. It's like the Vic Fangio discussion. The player personnel that he had in Chicago isn't going to compute to what he had in Denver. Just like Vance Joesph, his player personnel that he had in Arizona isn't going to compute his second time around in Denver. So again, just same with Ezra same with the Rams going to Denver. I mean, it's not going to compute. We're going to see the same old trend again and again and again and again.
Yeah,
this is going to get worse. I think this is just going to blow up. This is going to blow up.
Well, again, we were talking about Sean Payton's people versus. I don't see very much as Sean Payton's people in the building.
You have the O-line coach, you have the special teams coach, you have the strength and conditioning coach. I don't even know who the quarterback's coach is right now. I mean, you have so many positions that you still have to fill, and the next week is the combine.
Yeah. Oh, but it's okay. We got Elway scouts. They're still in the building. All of Elway scouts. We can get all these bad, horrible picks. We could just keep doing that over and over and over again.
I think this man was absolutely correct. I think you were the only one out there saying this. Sean Payton is a great X's and O's guy, but when it comes to team building, and you don't have what he had in New Orleans compared to what he has here, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that
that's what's not talked about.
This is exactly why Harbaugh, I think, would have been a much better choice than a guy like Payton.
I think the reason Harbaugh will refuse to take this job is where we are right now. He probably said, you got to blow it all up. You got to blow it all up. You got to blow it all. You got to blow it all up. And for whatever reason, this new ownership, it just is in a love affair with the old trust people. I don't know. Maybe Sean, maybe this is the last. Maybe Sean Payton finally breaks through and as an icebreaker and says, this is all got to stop. We've got to do it the right way. We got to get rid of everybody from that old, all those people on staff that still are there. That staff at the front office, they got to go, starting with the consultant and all of his merry men and women.
Yeah, absolutely.
You talk about cooks in the kitchen, man. You should just look at the staff. It's like a cruise ship. I mean, it's like it's a staff like, just a tower of all these different people.
Yeah.
And granted, I get, there a lot of them don't have a say in a lot of other things, but I mean, my God, I mean, it's like you could get a small high-rise office building just to fit them all in.
Yeah, it's not looking good out there. It's not looking good.
You got ownership. Everybody's got their, their 2 cents worth. All the staff Elway brought in. Where's George Payton in all this? I haven't heard anything from the guy that's supposed to be a GM. He's as ghosted as the offensive coordinator last year.
Yes. Yep.
All he is like a painting. All he is is a picture hanging up on a wall somewhere. That's. Oh yeah, Steve. There's this picture.
See, as a coach, you have to understand when it comes to coaching, you have to have players that, number one, fit a system and that want to be in your system. When you don't have those two that mesh and that align, the players that you have that you were working with, a la Draymond Jones in a 3-4 defense, that's not going to elevate his game at all. And that's the frustration from me is you don't have the player personnel on the offensive defensive side of the ball and also special teams that are just aligned. You have a 3-4 defense here, and you have guys like a DJ Jones, who is a really good nose tackle, but we saw throughout the season he's going to double, triple team, and he can't do much. We said that coming into the season. He can only do so much to help elevate Draymond Jones. You have Baron Browning, who should be an inside linebacker, and he's an outside linebacker. I mean, you're trying to put people in positions that aren't going to succeed rather than putting them in positions that will succeed. But again, you're throwing spaghetti at a wall like you did with Hackett, like you did with Vance Joesph the first time around, like you did with Fangio, like you even did with Kubiak towards the end of his run. That it just doesn't make any logical sense whatsoever. You know what? And I started watching the XFL, and this is just a side note. And I'm watching Wade Phillips, and I really love what the XFL is doing in terms of what Wade Phillips is doing down there with Houston, where he's getting guys that fit his system. He runs a blitzing 3-4 defense. You see the offensive defense. I'm telling you that while you're on your vacay. And I'm like, dude, like this looks like the Wade Phillips 2015 defense, the way the XFL is doing it. It's unbelievable to see the differences between an XFL defense and a Denver Broncos defense that aren't even in the same universe.
That's pretty sad.
Yes, it is. And offensive line-wise, too. Offensive line-wise for that team is just more superb than the Broncos O-line.
Well, that's the whole problem. You said that you sent me an article. They they signed a free agent from Philadelphia as a running back that they don't really.
Miles Sanders. They have a running back on that roster, a guy in Kenneth Gainwell, who's more of the Alvin Kamara type, and you're bringing Miles Sanders, who is more of your Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. No. Sean Payton, we don't want you to run your system. You play in our sandbox. We're going to make the sandbox for you. You play in our sandbox. Don't be Sean Payton that we all knew. You play. And you know what? These people, they want to wave, he helped this quarterback. He helped that quarterback. And yeah, but what was the theme in Saints land compared to the Denver Broncos? They had a core system that they built around. So anybody that came in fit in that system. They all fit in that system. There were different styles of quarterback, but they all fit in that system. We have, like you said, this system here, that system there, and no core.
No cohesion.
No foundation that they've been building around whatsoever. It's, again, square pegs, round holes. You have to make it work. He helped this, but nobody wants to mention what went into all that. It's all Patrick. It's not all Patrick Mahomes. What did Patrick Mahomes say this after the Super Bowl? What did he say?
Okay, so Patrick Mahomes, I listen to Sirius XM NFL radio on a consistent basis. I like Sirius XM, but he goes on to the Blitz, and he says that if it wasn't for the offensive line, we wouldn't have won that Super Bowl.
He knows because when he played Tampa Bay, what did he look like?
He looked like shit.
Yeah, he looked like who played like shit?
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he looked like in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay.
And it was a good Super Bowl till the refs ruined it. But again, that's it. We already talked about that. But
yeah,
we sit there. I mean, this is why we're so hated. I'm telling you, this is because we look at more deeper things than just your typical sports talk radio nonsense. We're looking at the scouts that are still there from Elway that he put in place, right? He didn't blow. Sean Payton didn't bring anybody from New Orleans into this.
Outside the offensive line coach, strength coach.
I mean, that's it. I mean, those are the two hires I'm actually intrigued by. But again, how much say are they going to have now? Probably none. Like Mike Munchak, I was high on that. He didn't have. The only say he had was probably Quinn and Miners.
And we're saying that Vance Joesph isn't going to have say either.
Yeah, he's going to be another yes man defensive coordinator, just like he was in Denver his first time around. So here we go again, another retread. It's frustrating, dude. It's frustrating because I want the Broncos to be good. I want the Broncos to get back to what they used to be. But I'm not going to sit here and cheer on this bullshit anymore. I'm not going to do that. I have a mind of my own, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, that Vance Joesph, that is such a good hire. I'm looking at it from a much bigger perspective than just the Vance Joesph hire. I mean, you could bring in Matt Patricia. Nobody wanted Matt Patricia. If every team wanted Matt Patricia, he would have been picked up by now. And you're going to bring him. He was an offensive coordinator for the Patriots last year, and he did so horrifically bad that they wouldn't bring him back.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised they even took him that time.
Yeah. Yeah. You see what he did in Detroit. Just look what he did in Detroit. I mean, the player personnel that he wanted.
Well, yeah, look what he did with the Patriots when he went that route. They really took a
nosedive.
Their QB was on the up. He was.
And then.
Yep. Yeah. So.
And then what did the Patriots do? They went and got Bill O'Brien from Alabama, who's run the Patriots system before. He's coming back to do it again. And I guarantee you Mac Jones will look like Mac Jones his rookie year. Guarantee you. Because the offensive line in New England is in place.
You know, speaking of the linebacking core.
Oh, God.
You know, they needed to revamp the linebacker. And everybody knows that. Except for, you know, like you said, some mental midgets. Everybody knows that no. And that's the last thing that defense would need is Matt Patricia. I mean, you talk about dipping backwards.
Dude, I went back and looked at his linebacking core in Detroit. It was one of the worst in the league. It was bottom.
Yeah. They're backwards.
He got a guy from Hawaii. He plays for the Patriots now, Tyvi, and then he had Jamie Collins, who they overpaid. He was getting older. They went out and got Jared Davis from Florida, who was vastly overrated. I think he's a free agent somewhere now. He probably plays for the XFL or USFL or whatever. Like he just, it's frustrating. He could never get the linebacking core in Detroit fixed, and now you want to bring him in as a linebackers coach. Wow. Okay. If that's what you want to do.
It would be funny to watch Wade Phillips' XFL team beat the Denver Broncos. That would be just.
It could happen, man. His XFL is really good, dude. I encourage everybody to watch the XFL. It's really different and it's fun. The refs let him play till the end, and it's a hard hitting sport, and it's. Really love what The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and his ex-wife Garcia has done with that league from the WWE Vince McMahon crap. It's actually really cool to see what they've become. It's fun. It's fun to watch.
So, just to change the subject. So, what do you think if this thing keeps going south the way it's going, and this season goes south? What options what do you think Sean Payton should say to the owners?
Blow it up.
Yeah. I mean,
you have to at that
not
point.
Just the players, but that front office, that
scout department, management, you have to blow it up. There's no
that Elway and the Trust put in there.
Yeah. You can't continue to hold on to guys like Simmons, to hold on to these scouts, to hold on to Garrett Bowles, to hold on to a Cortland Sutton, to hold on to a Drain. You have to just at some point you have to blow it up. At some point you have to.
I think this draft is going to say a lot too about who's running the show and who's not, and
free agency.
Yeah, free agency especially too. Yeah, free agency is going to be big because this is their last window, or one of their last windows, to bring some people in. Maybe was it 2025 season or 2024 that this Russell Wilson thing really kicks in?
I think it's this coming year. I believe so.
So 2024. So this is the window they got for free agency.
Oh, let's see. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to watch.
Well, so far it's been about what we said it would be.
Oh yeah, and what bubble man?
I don't. You can say people want to come here when you're Matt not Matt Ryan, but not Matt Ryan, Rex Ryan, excuse me, and all the rest. When that's your only people you've even interviewed.
Well, you don't have a first or second round pick. I mean, the Seahawks loaded in this draft. I mean, they're a team to watch out for. I mean, they have the cap room. They have
Why is it? Because did they do it right?
They blew it up.
Obviously, Russell Wilson wasn't that big of an issue for this team's success.
Of course he was.
No, and then you got Geno Smith.
Comeback player of the year.
You've got Drew Lock waiting in the wings. You're set quarterback, in my opinion. You can now build
they're doing that too. They got 2 tackles: Abraham Lucas, Charles Cross. Who was high on those people?
Well, now they can go build their defensive lineup.
Yep. And they can cut Shelby Harris. They can get rid of him because he doesn't have that big of a dead cap hit like the Broncos did when they traded him. They're going to do it right. They will.
So again, we're talking stable organizations versus unstable organizations.
Yep.
See the difference? Yeah, you made a splashy move. You got Russell Wilson. Yeah, you made a splashy move. You got a good coach. And he is a good coach. But it's like you've got an engine with no car around it. Oh, look we got a V12 McLaren engine, but we don't have a car to put around it. But if we got this great engine, man, you just look at it.
Yeah, it's like you're playing football without the football. I mean, that's how bad.
That's the Denver Broncos in a nutshell.
Yep, absolutely.
I guess that's how I'll title this: Denver Broncos playing football without a football. So thank you for that.
Of course.
So anything else on the radar?
Nope, just combines next week. I'll pay close attention to that and get back to watching some film.
Well, I'm sure we'll have a bunch of fake rumors coming from the Broncos.
Yeah, of course we will.
This. Okay, yeah, whatever.
Yep.
I'll see. I'll believe it when I see it.
Wait and see approach for me.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. It's just that this is going just as we predicted it would go.
For 8 years.
And people can't, and you can, and folks, they're going to keep polishing turds. They're going to keep selling you crap. And, you can choose to either go and say, I'll believe it when I see it, or you can swallow it. It's up to you. You can do whatever you want to do with it. It's kind of like Ohio, they just tell you anything, Oh yeah, go back in your home. It's fine. Yeah. They're all choking, gagging. It's all in your head.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Yeah. Yeah. Don't use your own discernment. That's not your own eyeballs can't possibly tell you, and your own common sense. No.
Get ready for World War III, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like, I like this. Oh yeah, Vance Joesph. Oh yeah, Vance Joesph. This promise, that promise, the next promise. Always. Yeah. Is that all we care about being top 5 or on a stat sheet?
I think they like to be top 5 in headlines more than they like to be top 5 on the field.
Yeah, they certainly do, and it's always one charities that are tax evasive kind of things.
Well, I mean, it took you this long to hire a defensive coordinator. That should say a lot, in my opinion.
Well, Philadelphia has a number of people they've got to go. They've already interviewed, and they've got to narrow it down. That's the difference. I just want people to realize that. So, not here where
Well, I mean, if we really think about it from a Philadelphia Eagles perspective, I mean, they're probably. I mean, as a fan, I would be like, oh, thank God we didn't hire Vance Joesph because he doesn't fit a 4-3 system. I mean, you've got to think about it like that, too. Like, if you're a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, you're probably like, thank you, Denver. Thank you for being stupid again.
Well, Philadelphia Eagle fan. Yeah. We don't want a 4-3 4 guy here. No. We have a system. Again, we got our foundation. We build out from it.
Yeah.
And, maybe that interview for him over there was how well are you versed in 4-3 defense, You got to stick to our core principles here, but we don't have that in Denver. It's just like, oh yeah, we'll grab you. Oh, you over here doing that? Yeah, I know they're completely opposite, but we're gonna have to work together. It's just One day we'll actually get some management that has their shit together. But maybe it's Sean Payton
in a nursing home, and I will be in a wheelchair. So
nursing home, I'll probably be dead and buried, and you'll probably be collecting Social Security or something by that time. So
something like that. Or you know what? Or maybe at this point, we'll all be gone. How the world's going now. So
that's true. Yeah, kaboom.
All right. On that note, I'll let you go.
All right. I will talk to you later.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.